Okay, the minutes have been distributed. If everybody's had an opportunity to take a look at them, if there are no changes, can I get a motion to accept the minutes as distributed?
I'll move it. I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next thing on the agenda will be a public hearing regarding a stop sign in Timber Banks. So the local law for amendment to Chapter 295 entitled Vehicle and Traffic relative to the installation of traffic stop signs on Forest Ridge Lane entering Timber Banks Parkway and Forest Ridge Lane entering Tall Tree Lane. May I have a motion to open up the public hearing? I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, public hearing is now open. Is there anybody wishing to speak for or against the proposed local law? No one? Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens that have any comments tonight regarding town business that would like to speak?
Kevin Road, 1405 Graymore Way. I looked through the agenda after reading the article in the paper last week about the warehouse and the local law being null and void or whatever happened legally. And I don't see where we're rescinding the resolution from February 4th.
We don't need to rescind the resolution. We entered a stipulation as a court order that we're sending the Secretary of State that renders that law void from the beginning.
Oh, okay. So
We don't need
to rescind it.
No.
Okay. My other question about that on February 4th at the public hearing, you know, it seemed like the town had everything in order, but, you know, citizens had to spend money to take us to court to find out that we didn't. You know, what steps are we gonna take in the future to make sure that that doesn't happen and people don't have to spend their own money to fight their town? And my other question is, what if everything rolled through the planning board 4 months ago, we didn't have public hearings, and somebody's starting to develop property and they get stopped because the town didn't follow proper protocols? I mean, I know there's not a place, you don't feel like placing blame, but it falls on the 5 people up here. Passed a law that wasn't truthful, protocols weren't followed, people spent a lot of money on it, a developer could have spent money on it, he had to change what he was doing, and you know, someone's accountable. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? No one else? Okay. Supervisors' comments. So, the town engineer, Mr. Yeager, and Mr. Merrill, our Parks Director, and I, we worked on a grant. When did we get that grant? Do you remember? Was it in the first part of July, right?
No, we got the notice middle of June submitted.
Middle of June. Yeah, but
Submitted
it,
right before the end of June.
yeah, before the end of June, which
Well, we submitted the letter. I don't know when.
yeah,
We got the notice.
We got it middle of June.
Yeah, like first week in June, I believe.
Right. We didn't have it very long, and we didn't have a long time to work on it. So the 3 of us worked on it, and Mr. Yeager and Mr. Merrill did a great job on it. And one of the things that we were looking for, the grant was a maximum of $200,000. And what we worked on was we had some ideas. One of the ideas that I've been interested in for a while is to have a fitness area in the park. If you go to larger cities, and I've been to New York City and I've been to Boston, and some larger cities down south, they have fitness areas that people can go and just use them. And you can get a gym quality workout in these fitness areas. So I've always been concerned with that. I thought that would be a nice amenity for our town, because a lot of people, and I would have been one of those people when I was a kid, my parents wouldn't have been able to afford a gym membership for me or a Y membership, and I'm sure there's still people like that around. And additionally, there's probably some older people or some adults that sometimes feel intimidated by going into gyms. And if you had an outdoor gym, anybody could use it anytime they wanted, and you get a same type of workout for free. Also, Mr. Yeager and Mr. Merrill came up with an idea that we should, a nice amenity for the park would be a parkour or a ninja type style area where, you know, older teenagers, young adults could go in and get that type of fitness workout in there as well. And then we all three of us looked at our area that we have for the younger kids, you know, 10 and under, and we saw some areas for improvement in there. So Mr. Yeager and Mr. Merrill put this plan together, and we submitted for the full amount, $200,000, to Senator Mannion's office, and I'll read this to you from Senator Mannion's office. I'm pleased to inform you that we intend to proceed with an award of $200,000 state municipal SAM capital project grant, which $200,000 is the maximum that you can get, to the town of Lysander for improvements to Lysander Town Park. My office has received dozens of applications for capital grants, and I will continue reviewing these projects on a rolling basis. As always, this grant is paid on a reimbursement basis, therefore documentation and services must be rendered. There goes on with some technical stuff, but I'm very proud to provide this funding and look forward to working with you to make this happen. My office is always available to help answer any questions or provide other assistance you may need. So we got this was very fast to get this grant. I mean, to get it within a few weeks.
Yeah, that's the initial
Right.
approval. There's a next step, which
Yeah.
the application I'll be completing
So,
tomorrow.
what this does is it allocates or encumbers this $200,000 for the town of Lysander. Now, as they go in, these projects take a while to get done. So there's a lot of hoops that the town has to jump through. So we're probably not going to see this money for at least a year, maybe a little bit longer. But the fact of the matter is that they've already allocated it to us, and it gives us plenty of time to come up with a nice, a couple of nice amenities for our town. When we get through with some of the things that we're working on in the park, and Councilor Kudaraskis has been working with Mr. Merrill and Mr. Yeager, and we have a lot of things going on in the park. And by the time we're through, and within the next 5 years, I see Lysander Park as being a park that's unique over any other park in Onondaga County. I don't think there's any other parks that has the type of amenities that we're looking at putting into our park with this grant, as well as some of the other things that we're going to do. So I want to thank Senator Mannion. In fact, he's going to be in on Tuesday. I have a meeting with him in the town hall. I'm going to thank him personally, but that was very, he moved on that grant very quickly for us, so I think we should appreciate it. Let's see, we discussed this earlier in the work session, but we also received $456,000 in a grant from the state that's going to allow us to do additional works on West Entry Road and Willow Parkway. We're going to end up doing, we allocated over $800,000 last year in our budget to do highway improvements, and this is going to be another $700,000 plus that we're going to be putting into road improvements from Smoky Hollow down West Century Road and Willow Parkway. That's very much needed, and most of this money is coming from money outside of town taxes. So we're very fortunate to get this one grant, and we, outside of the city, we were the only town in Onondaga County that received this money. Also, I think Mr. Hull should be commended for, he negotiated $168,000 from National Grid. National Grid is doing some work along West Entry Road, and through negotiations with our highway superintendent, we're receiving $168,000. That's part of the money that we're going to be using for West Entry Road. That, again, isn't taxpayer money on roadways that we were going to have to do anyway. So I think these are important things people should know, and our highway superintendent, our senators, and also our staff are doing a great job in trying to get things done without raising taxes and without utilizing local tax dollars. That's all I have. Town board comments. Start with tonight with Mr. Jurasik, if you'd like to go. I'll start with you. I always go on the ends.
That's all right. Well, I'm just impressed listening to you, Bob. I mean, it's just that kind of money coming in, and the 30 years of applying for grants, I have never had one green lighted in 3 weeks the way you got the one with from Senator Manning. So that's great. Yeah, it's really good to hear about the improvements we're going to be making to parks. I mean, you know, that's music to my ears. This is a terrific town, and I really like the way this board is working together. Thanks.
Some more.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about all the good news that we have going on here. Also, I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. We've had a nice mix of hot weather and thunderstorms for central New York summer. So I hope everyone's enjoying it, and thank you for taking the time out of your evenings to come here tonight or to watch on PAC. That's it.
Yeah, I'll echo what you and Drossi said in regards to, you know, we're doing a lot of great improvements here in town of Lysander without using any tax dollars. I mean, what other towns are doing that, I can't name any except Lysander, so I'd be proud of this town, so. Yeah.
Okay. Department head reports. Mr. Rivazigno.
Nothing.
Mr. Merrill.
The completion of the conversion of the tennis courts into pickleball courts on the upper level is completed. It was opened up last Sunday. Pickleballers couldn't have been happier.
It's all done?
That portion is done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that portion is done.
Okay.
So, and
Yeah, because the resurfacing hasn't been scheduled yet, right?
for the lower end, for the tennis courts.
Okay.
Yeah, the pickleball courts completely done.
Completely done.
They've
All
it's
brand new.
been, yep, all resurfaced, relined.
Take a look at it. I didn't think it was going to
Looks
happen until the end of the
fantastic.
month.
No, it's been opened up, they've been playing on it, they couldn't be happier. So, next step is just getting the surfacing and relining of the tennis courts. So he's, on a daily basis, he fights against weather and humidity and other jobs that he's doing, so.
I take it they look pretty nice then.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They really are, really fantastic, so.
And if you can explain, that was a total resurfacing.
So that
Totally
was,
redone.
right, so the initial plan there was for the remaining tennis court on that upper level to be converted into 2 pickleball courts, and that was it. And it was to get relined. I worked with the board and with you, and we kind of shift around money that the department was already saving in order for that entire portion of the upper end to be pressure washed, and then that entire tennis court to be repaired, resurfaced, and then lined and converted into 2 complete pickleball courts. So now that upper end is done. So it gets, if I recall my notes, it's 5 years. I think it's around 5 years, but we would look at just doing a pressure wash, just a redo of the pressure washing, and again, a repair of any cracks. So that upper level is done. So now the next step is just him moving in. And he's already got the lower level pressure washed, so just that alone, it looks fantastic. His next step is just to come in when he can schedule and do the crack repair and the shimming. The shimming just, it doesn't fill low spots, but it brings them up a little bit. If you look at the paving over there, there's so many dips and low spots in there that it's just, he can only do so much. So he fixes some of the worst low spots and just brings them up a little bit just so the water doesn't sit. You know, so much water doesn't sit. You'll still get areas where a little bit of water will sit. But he'll repair cracks, shim, and then goes over with an entire brand new surface for that whole lower level, and then we'll reline the tennis courts, and he's agreed to reline them so that each tennis court has 2 temporary pickleball courts. So now the pickleball players, they were happy about that too. So they gave themselves 4 temporary instead of 2 temporary. So now they got, when the need arises, they actually have 8 pickleball courts. So,
Yeah, that's good. Great.
so it's kind of cool. They were happy about that. So a few other things. We're in the process of promoting and registering for a new program, Kickball for the Kids. It's a 6-week league, 4 teams for 11-year-olds to 14-year-olds. So we got a slow start to registration, but we don't need a lot of kids. We only need 32 kids out of the, I would say, the Beeville School District area to create 4 teams. So
Kev, just a question on promotions, and I don't tend to be an expert. I mean, it's just so difficult to get the word out, and I know you're going to be looking at your Facebook page. Have you created, I don't know what you would call it, an email where folks can just give you their email address, you put it into a database, and the minute there's a new program, you can just hit one button and send out the
that's
message?
something that I want to do, whether it be something through like a constant contacts. I haven't had the opportunity to research that. Once we get Alicia.
And I know you're
Yeah.
literally up to your eyeballs
Yep.
and doing stuff, but to me, that's gonna be the way to get the word out.
Absolutely.
Because,
Absolutely.
like, I didn't know about your kickball program. I'm sure my daughter doesn't know about it.
Texted
either.
it to you.
I know. But,
That's how I got a lot of it out.
Yeah,
It
but-
was just text message.
And that, over the months and years, that list will
Yeah.
accrue to
Absolutely.
thousands and thousands of people, and it literally be one button, and
Right.
and the word is out.
Right, right. And that's, and to your point, that's where I want to get the communications for, and the promotions of programs too.
Good.
So, and that's kind of the way I already did it through just the text message contacts that I had just over the years with my kids, and all the parents that with Google, you get contacts that just get automatically dumped into your Google account. So you just start going through and texting everybody and just asking everybody just to share the
Yep.
share the kickball poster and pass the word on.
And now with the new secretary working for you, you'll
Yep.
be able to do more of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just a couple other things. We finally gained access to our Facebook page. So, yeah, put it on there, trying to get from there. I've never been a Facebooker, so trying to funnel my way through that. That's again something that the highway secretary would assist with. With motion tonight, we're hoping to move forward with hiring of a new park attendant who would assist over there with just with the 3 current attendants we have and just with the scheduling of them. They want, they're getting a little older, they want certain weekend days off or stuff that they do, so.
I know you sent out the emails regarding the young
Yep.
man that we're gonna hire. Why
Yep.
don't you just give us a brief
So,
synopsis? And I met him. and-
yeah, you met him the other day. He's a fantastic kid, Dan Nadlin. He's he's going to be a senior at Baker High School. I knew Dan from the baseball team that I coached, and we didn't get too many responses to the advertisements that I put out there looking for a park attendant. So I started reaching out to people that I knew, and I reached out to his parents and to him to see if he was interested, and he was. So he went through the process of filling out an application and interviewing, and he's going to work out. He's a good kid. And the last thing I was just going to point out, which Supervisor Wicks has already had, was the initial process of being awarded the SAM Capital Grant for, I would say, addition and enhancement of our current playground for with playground equipment and what I would deem as fitness ground equipment. So, that's all I got.
Right. Mr. Yeager?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing? No. Caught me off guard. I thought you were gonna have something.
We'll get to it in the agenda.
Ms. Falcone?
I'm all set, thank you.
All right, that's quick. Everyone wants to get out. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda items. May I have a motion to adopt local law number 3, amending chapter 295 entitled Vehicle and Traffic relative to the installation of traffic stop signs on Forest Ridge Lane entering Timberbanks Parkway and Forest Ridge Lane entering Tall Tree Lane.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to waive the permit fee of $300 for fireworks display for the Radisson Community Association's Founder Day celebration on August 7, 2021.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have one question. So it seems like we're always waiving these permit fees on fireworks. Should we just get rid of the permit fees for the fireworks? And, or if not, try to recoup Tim's cost, because we still have to send Tim out there to inspect it.
So like if there was a wedding in town, say there was a wedding at Timberbanks and they, and this has happened several times in the past, and they had a fireworks display, that's where the permit fee applies.
Okay.
Obviously, Tim doesn't spend $300 worth of time doing the inspections on this, so on the private events like that. So a public event like the Radisson Community Association or the West Phoenix or the Phoenix thing, you know, Tim's expense is really covered by those private type displays.
I didn't know we had money private, so.
We haven't though this year.
But I can
because-
see with the new clubhouse.
Well,
where now-
when they had the tent, we do 2 or 3 of them a summer. When they had the tent, we're doing events over at Timberbanks. We'd get a couple of summer with the
That
clubhouse.
place is supposed to be,
It's gonna blow up.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah, the place is gonna blow up. So
I can see that. Okay, I was just curious whether or
Yep.
not. Yeah.
any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'm adding something to the end of this motion. It's going to read to appoint Daniel Nadlin, is that his name? Daniel Nadlin to the position of park attendant in the amount of $12.50 per hour. The park attendant position is a part-time seasonal position on an as-need basis. So that's what I'm adding, that last sentence. So may I get a motion to appoint Daniel Leyland to the position of park attendant in the amount of $12.50 per hour. Park attendant position is a part-time seasonal position on an as-needed basis.
I'll move it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the contract with Summit Environmental, Inc. in the amount of $13,727 for the asbestos abatement at the 8431 Smoky Hollow Road property, and authorize the town controller to pay for the project with funds from the fee in lieu of parklands account.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so with this, obviously, we're gonna get that abatement done, so, can we get a tear down of the house too?
As soon as the abatement's done, yeah, well, the next RFP that we'll get out is for the demo. Just haven't quite gotten to that RFP yet. But
Okay,
it'll
so
go out
once we
soon.
get that done,
Yeah, it'll go out soon. Obviously, a little bit of coordination timing. This contractor indicated that they'll have the work completed by middle of August. I'll probably shoot for having the RFP back to us, by that second meeting in August for the demo.
okay.
And hopefully we'll get that
50 grand by then,
authorization.
yeah.
by
Because
then.
at that, if we don't, there would not be enough money in the Fee Little Parklands account to pay for the rest of the demo. It would have to be something.
But like we discussed, we have all our paperwork is all in on that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we're just waiting for the letter.
Grant
saying
disbursement,
go.
yeah, just waiting
So,
for the grant
yeah.
disbursement agreement.
Okay, good.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the town clerk to advertise for the 2021 Town of Lysander swale clearing and pond mowing contract with all bids to be submitted to the town clerk no later than 10 a.m. on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021.
I'll move it.
I will second that.
Any discussion?
So this is ponds that are in the town of Lysander, right? Wasn't this previous work done by the highway department or your intern? No.
We contract this every summer. Last year, Timber Tree got the contract. The year before that, Distinguished Landscape just had it.
Because I had a pond in my neighborhood in the back or by the river.
We had a park staff member
Do that one.
do that one year.
Okay.
It was a pretty slow process.
Yeah.
What?
It was a pretty slow process.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Good.
So this is the way to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So we are going to add one motion, item F. Motion to approve the amended pavement management plan as presented by the highway superintendent to resurface West Century Road from the railroad tracks east to Willett Parkway and Willett Parkway from West Century Road to New York State Route 31 in the amount of $763,293.85.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? We talked about this at length in our work session, and the majority of this money is coming out of grants and other things that I talked about earlier with National Grid and things. So this is additional monies, and we don't want to carry it over into next year, which we could do, but the problem for us is that the construction costs are starting to go out of sight, and we want to make sure that we have enough money to complete what we want to complete, and the sooner we do it, the better off we're going to be. That's why we're moving on it now. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I don't think we have any new business from the board members. We're going to have an executive session tonight, and the executive session is to go over contract language and the consultant's recommendations as far as contract language with the administrative personnel of the town. I don't think we aren't going to take any votes in there. It's just to look at, to get some legal advice from Mr. Lysander, as well as discuss the changes in the language that the consultant made. So can I get a motion to move into executive session at 7:31?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Okay. Executive session.